Hi, everyone. This is Pam Pathy with Focus IT, and this is part two of our four-part series on Pulse Marketing Training. We're really excited that you're taking time out of your busy day to join us, and we're going to be starting here in just a little bit. We want to give everyone a chance to get joined in. So just stand by. We'll be starting soon. Thank you. Hi, everyone. This is Pam Pathy with Focus IT, and this is part two of our four-part series that we're doing for Pulse Marketing Training. We're going to be starting this call here in just a few minutes. We want to give everyone a chance to get logged in. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. We'll be starting here shortly. Thank you. Hi, everyone. This is Pam Pathy with Focus IT, and this is part 2 of our 4-part series of training calls for our Pulse marketing system. We're going to be starting this call here in just a couple more minutes. We want to make sure everyone has a chance to get logged in. We'll be starting here in just a couple minutes. I appreciate your patience. Thank you, everyone. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot to cover in a short period of time, and hopefully I won't put you on overload this week like I did last. But what I'd like to go ahead and do is start out by doing a simple refresher. First of all, if I didn't have the opportunity to do it, I will be doing it again at the end of this call once I have the recording posted. We've created a playlist on YouTube for this 4-part series training, and we're going to upload each video, each recording to the YouTube site. So I'll be sending everyone this URL so that if you wish to go back and replay any of the recordings, they'll be available to you. One of the other things that we've done that I will be sending to everyone, just in case I haven't done it yet, is we've also created another playlist out there. These are short little how-to videos on our Pulse site. We're going to be doing a 4-part Pulse training for everyone in the month of December, but we wanted to get a jump start, and we're going to be placing out there about 40 very simple, short little how-to videos for our Pulse application, and we'll be working on some short videos along with the 4-part series for Pulse marketing. So we're really excited about the opportunity that we have to make this all available to you and hope that you enjoy them. With that said, let's go ahead and let's jump into why we're here today, everyone. Again, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day and joining me. What I'd like to start out with is a simple refresher, if I may. When you're provided with your Pulse site, we're going to send you the URL. We're going to let you know that your username is your email address, and we give you a temporary password. The first thing we ask our customers to do is go to the admin page and change up their password to secure their site. That's all that you really have to do on the admin page. The rest of it's taken care of by us. I let everyone know last week in our call about the opt-out feature that we have. We want to make sure that all customers, when they receive an email from you through the marketing system, that they have the ability to opt out to keep you in compliance with the CAN-SPAM Filter Act. And of course, there's no marketing system worth its weight in gold if you can't actually see the results of the emails that go out. So we have a very simple reporting screen that allows you to come in and choose certain templates, and to be able to see the results of those templates, to be able to do quick little filters on them, set date ranges if you choose to do so, and most importantly, download it to an Excel spreadsheet so that you can provide it to upper management or keep it for historical records. Where we focused most of our attention last week was on the list part of the application. Creating your list is very important. For the ones that weren't able to attend the call, and a refresher for the ones that are on the call today, you want to make sure when you create your list, you cast your net wide, meaning that when you go in and you create a list, the types of lists that you're going to be looking for is one is going to be all files. You want to make sure that you include in this list every single file that you had the opportunity to obtain a first, a last name, and an email address. It doesn't matter whether you closed a file for them 15 times. It doesn't matter if you spoke to them 7 years ago and they never went anywhere, or if it's just one that you happen to have spoken to yesterday. You want to make sure that you take the opportunity and mine your entire database, everyone. So this all file list is very important and very critical that everyone sets one up. It's the all file list that you're going to use for the types of marketing emails we're going to talk about during today's call. And then, of course, you're going to want to create a list that's keyed in or filtered strictly for your leads that you have, because you're going to have certain campaigns that you want to go out on leads. You're also going to want to make sure that you have a closed loan list. Now, I haven't had a chance to come in here and clean this up, but last week we did an all closed loan list, but I also showed everyone that when you create these lists, not only do you have the opportunity to choose a particular folder that you would want focused on this, but you also have the ability to filter lists by specific loan officers or processors, but most of the time it's going to be loan officers. Or you can actually filter it based on other criteria, like whether the transaction is a purchase or a refinance. I like to go ahead and no matter what folder that I'm selecting, I like to place some criteria on the loans within that folder, because sometimes we don't have the opportunity to immediately move our loans from one data folder to the other. And we do have clients that still like and work very well out of a single data folder. So in this case, I would have stated that I wanted to look at the closed loan folder, and I wanted to include in this all closed loans that does not equal blank, meaning the date. Now let's take a moment and do a quick refresher on Point, everyone. If you remember last week, I showed you within Point, everyone has the ability to come up here to Utilities, come down here to Load Field ID Numbers, and go to Borrower. When you do, it's going to open up a blank loan, and inside that blank loan, it's going to provide you with every field ID number. Now that you know what those field ID numbers are, you now have the controls. It's in your hands, and you now have the ability to write these wonderful conditions to filter these lists to get exactly what your needs are. And in this particular case, I had written into it to look at field 6055, which is the closed loan field. So I'm simply saying if field 6055 does not equal blank, meaning there's a close date included on the list. And if the purchase type, if the transaction type is a purchase, field 1190, if that field happens to be true, then I'd like that also. I would like these two conditions met for that deal to be added to the list. Why would I want to do an all closed loan purchase list versus an all closed loan refi list? Well, on a purchase, after a year's time, you're going to want to solicit them, maybe for refinancing, maybe for an equity line of credit. Maybe you just want to make sure that they know that you're there for them. And if the market's doing really good and everything on the purchases, you may want to point out things like the ability to drop PMI insurance for conventional, or MI insurance on FHAs, or whatever it might be. So sometimes it is very beneficial to do your list based on transaction type. So these are the types of lists that you're going to want to create. And of course, you have flexibilities to do all kinds. One of the other types of lists that you have the ability to do, which is going to be important to a lot of my callers today, and that's going to be a list that we call external. An external list is simply going to allow you through a template, through a simple spreadsheet, to be able to bring in outside information. On our external list, it allows you to bring in the borrower, old or new borrowers' first names, last names, and email addresses. You'll complete that on the Excel spreadsheet. You'll save it. You'll locate the file, and you'll read it and upload it. External lists, those are wonderful for you to use for maybe you have a contact database from old clients. Maybe you've purchased a database that you would like to market to before you do anything with it. Maybe you would like to do a specific campaign to realtors that you've yet to do any business with. Maybe you got a hold of a realtor database or anything along those lines that you would like to do some target marketing to. You have the ability to do that, and we can import those lists and include them. We have quite a few of our clients that import past clients. Unfortunately, with our industry, we do some moving around. So you usually are bringing with you your past clients, and you want to be able to continue to include those and include them in marketing campaigns also. So those are the different types of lists. Replay the video from last week, and it will go into much more detail for you on how those lists are created and the importance of them. So now let's talk about what today's call is. Today's call is about templates. We're going to spend the next 3 calls focusing on the templates. There's a lot of information that you need to know. There's a lot of caution that you want to be aware of when you're doing, you're completing templates and you're doing campaigns. The first thing that I want to make very clear to everyone is that to protect you and your company, we have required that 4 things need to be done before a marketing campaign will ever trigger and go out. No matter what marketing campaign you select, the marketing campaign, the mode has to go from test to production. You have to have a trigger set for it. You have to have it assigned to a list. And you have to, under status, have it flipped on. So if you flip on, if I was to flip this one on right now, nothing will happen. At the top of every hour when Pulse Marketing runs, and yes, everyone, by the way, our Pulse Marketing system runs at the top of every hour. So most of your campaigns, you will specify a particular time of the day that you'd like them to trigger and go out. But the other ones, you're waiting for statuses or certain things to be done inside Point, and those would be read at the top of every hour. And any borrowers that fall within that campaign, those emails will be triggered and be sent out. So by simply turning this on, it would not work. If I turned this on and my mode was set to production and I had no trigger or list, it would not work. If I had it turned on, set to production, and assigned to a list and still no trigger, it will not work. It's as simple as that. These 4 things must be done for an email to actually get triggered and go out. So we do have some comfort level in place for our customers to reassure them that it's very difficult to accidentally trigger an email. So when you're on this page, this, if you scroll down, what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of different versions of emails and a lot of different emails that we deliver with the system. The owner of the company took upon himself to hire a marketing person who is working for us part-time right now and full-time, I believe, the beginning of next month. And she will be creating additional marketing material that will be added to this database on a monthly basis, and we'll be sending out email notifications to everyone every time something's added. And one of the things that we will be doing on a monthly basis is offering our customers a version of a newsletter that you can go in and trigger and send out to your database if you choose to do so. But as you can tell, I'm scrolling and I'm still scrolling, so you can see that we have a lot out there to choose from. This can be a bit overwhelming when you first get into it. So I tell my customers you need to break it down into 3 steps. Okay? The first step you need to break it down into is you need to go through and you need to pick out which is the most easiest to do, the simplest to set up, and it's going to get you some really great results. You want to go in and you want to pick out a birthday email, and you want to pick out your holiday emails. For everyone that's on the call today, if you're currently not using our Pulse marketing system, if you currently don't have birthdays and at least Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's enabled in your marketing site, you are missing out on deals. You truly are, because the birthdays are wonderful. It's a wonderful way to keep in touch with that borrower and continue to cement that relationship that you have with them. The holiday ones are also very important. You may not have necessarily the date of birth for all of your contacts in your database, but if you were able to get their first, last name, and email address, every one of them is going to be included in your holiday campaigns. So the first thing that I recommend to my customers is I recommend to them to look into the birthday campaign. If I want to find out if I want to look at my birthday ones, I can simply type up there in the search window birthday and it'd bring up the results of them, or I can simply scroll down and find them. Once I have a list, which it got a little impatient for me, didn't it? Once I have a list up and I am able to see the list, the next functionality that I have, or the next thing that I'd want to do, is pick which one of these I'd want to use. To do that, if I come over here to the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to notice we have action buttons next to each one of our templates. If I click on the action button, the first option I have is edit, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. The next important one that I happen to love is the preview. I don't want to have to edit and go all the way to the body part of the email setup to be able to see exactly what it looks like, if it's one I want to use or don't want to use. I want to be able to easily see it. And to do that, I can simply preview it. When I do, it's going to open up a sample of that email. And now I have the ability to scroll through and see if this is the one of my choice. Now, I may not like everything I see, and some people may not understand everything they see. You'll notice up here at the top, this is what's called a merge tag. A merge tag is simply telling the system to pull information from a database and insert it when the email gets created. This particular merge tag is going to insert your logo, just like we insert your logo on all your status emails. Down here, this merge tag is going to insert the borrower's first name. It's going to add it again down here. Most importantly, it's going to bring in the loan officer's first and last name down here. It's going to bring in your company information. And at the email template level, you can even come in and tie these to your social media sites if you want to. Okay, so you're going to come in, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to search for birthday, at least I hope, and you're going to come over here to actions and you're going to preview each one of them. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come down and preview the second one. This one has no pictures, still has our merge tags, and the language is a little bit different. This is the second choice. Down here, we also have a third choice. Now, the fourth choice you're going to see for birthday is actually the same one that's up here, but you'll notice here I've tagged this one borrower and I've tagged this one co-borrower. When birthday emails go out, you want them personally addressed. Now, on the holiday ones and things like that, if you want to keep them generic, you can, or you can do them personally addressed to the borrower and the co-borrower if you choose to do so, or a little combo that I'll share with you that some of my customers do. But on the birthdays, you want to personally address them. So you'll find here that I have two versions of it. So let's go ahead and let's walk through what it would take to set up a birthday email. I've now selected the one that I want, and I'm going to use the first one here. I'm going to come over here to Actions, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it. The first step that I come to in creating and setting up my happy birthday email is going to be to choose the list. Now, we've talked about this. Birthday emails, if you don't send them out to every file within your database that contains first name, last name, and email address, you're missing out on wonderful opportunities. Okay? If they get the email, and unfortunately we all have it, everyone, sometimes you have an unpleasant experience with a borrower. Okay? That happens to the best of us, and if that's the case and they get your email and they don't want to hear from you again, they're simply going to opt out. But it doesn't mean that you should be selective up front on what files you include and don't include in campaigns like birthdays and holidays. Send them all out and leave it up to the recipient to decide if they don't wish to hear from you anymore, and let them choose to opt out. You can select multiple lists. So for instance, if I was going to do some testing, I could come down here, maybe I have 3 lists set up for testing because I have loans at different stages or different circumstances. I can choose multiple lists if I wish to do so. In this case here, for this one, I'm simply going to choose all files. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and do next, and it's going to take me to step 2. Now on step 2, this is where you set up the template. Setting up a template here is no different than designing an email in Outlook or whatever email application you happen to use. The only big difference is that you have to give it a name. So up here at the top, give it a very descriptive name. Make sure that you include details because you want to be able to look at that email template in your list, know exactly what type of email it is, exactly who it's going to. So we've given you a nice long window here to be able to be very descriptive on your email templates so that you don't constantly have to open them all the time to figure out what's going on. So give your template a name. and then come down and create your subject line. Now, we all well know that anyone who receives emails, which is the whole world by now almost, when emails come in, you're looking at them in your inbox, and to know whether you need to open one immediately or not, you pay very close attention to the subject line. We all do it, okay? So you want to make sure that the subject line is descriptive. In this case here, this one says, "Happy birthday, Pam Padley." Now, me personally, I don't think on a subject line for birthday email, I'd want my last name. I'd want it to be more personal, so I'd simply say, "Happy birthday, Pam." This, again, is a merge tag like we saw on the preview screen, and you have the ability to come over here on the right-hand side. You have the ability to say, look at a point file, look at a point field or a pulse field or an external field. You have the ability from here to go and select. So in this particular case, I could type in field 100, and I could scroll down and choose the borrower's the borrower's first name. It gives me my merge tag over here. All I have to do is click in the box, come over here and click the insert tag, and it actually inserts it for me. Now, if you're one of my more techie savvy users, you can actually just highlight this merge tag and come over here and simply paste it in, whichever works best for you. But you can actually insert those merge tags. So when this runs on a particular loan, it will pull that field information into the subject line for you, and it will send it out when the email goes out. Now, down here is where you get to choose who it comes from. We're going to come back around to who it comes from in just a few minutes, because that's where you're going to want to be extremely careful, okay? Who it comes from and who it goes to. The from, 9.5 out of every 10 times, is going to come from the loan officer. Okay, this is where you're choosing who it comes from, and you want it to come from the loan officer. Now, it's going to come from the loan officer if the loan officer has an enabled Pulse account with our company, with Pulse. Make sure you understand that, everyone. It's going to come from the loan officer if the loan officer has a Pulse enabled paid for account. If you choose loan officer here and the loan officer's Pulse account is disabled, or if they never had a Pulse account because they worked for you many years ago and they've long since gone, those emails are not going to be, they're not going to be sent on behalf of the loan officer. They're going to come down here and they're going to use the default email address and name. It doesn't mean that you can't market to your entire database. You have every right to do so, and I would hope that you would want to. You would want the birthday emails for your existing users, for your existing loan officers. You'd want those emails to come directly from them. But if they're no longer with you, okay, you still want to send out those birthday emails, but you're going to send them out using a default email address and name. Now, this default email address can either be the owner's email address, it can be a generic account. You do want to make sure that it is an account that is being monitored, okay, because borrowers are going to click reply. They're going to want to talk to someone, and you don't want to miss out on those potential deals. So whatever you do for this particular one, you really do not want to do a no reply, okay? I'm a firm believer in you want this to be a valid email account. You can do a generic one through your email provider. You can set up one that says marketing at your domain, and then within that marketing email, do a distribution list. And if that one is the one that gets used, when they reply back, it's distributed to more than one person within your company so that it can be addressed. But you definitely want to make sure that you do a valid email address that's being monitored. And then over here, I would suggest using your company name as the display name. I do have some customers, smaller companies, that put their email address here in their name because they had people working for them before and they're no longer working for them. And then I have others that simply do that generic one, a distribution list, and put the company name here. Totally up to you, but you do want to make sure that all three of these boxes are filled in. Okay, now let's talk about who it's going to. Right now, I've got this one personally set for my borrower, so I would only select borrower on my list. But you'll notice here as I scroll down, I have co-borrower, appraiser, builder, buyer's agent, buyer's attorney, closing agent, custom agent 1, custom agent 2, flood, hazard. It goes on and on and on, including the REB buyer and the REB seller. Okay, so let's talk about this for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my screen here, and I'm going to come back to the list part for a moment. When we generated this list, okay, basically what we generated was a list of borrowers' names, okay, their file names or their borrower name if they if they don't currently have a point file. We haven't gathered realtor names. We haven't gathered title companies or appraiser names. We haven't gathered any of the additional contacts because we don't need them from the list perspective. The list perspective is simply telling the system, I want you to look at this loan or I want you to look at this loan. If there's no file name, it means there's no point file. So then we locate it in Pulse by the borrower's name. But that's what we want them to do. We want them to locate the record. Because in Pulse, when they locate the record, from within the record is where they're going to be able to see all of the contacts. The system will. So if we were to go in and we were to open up Mary's record, eventually, there we go. You'll notice whenever you open a record inside Pulse, we have this wonderful contact section. So basically, under this contact section, you have the potential through Point, okay, because in Point, you know from the borrower information page, we pull over the borrower and the co-borrower. From the track branch team screen, we pull in the underwriter, doc prep, closer, and shipper. That's why they're in the sender's box, not the recipient, but the sender's box. But most importantly, under the track agent list screen, we bring in all of the agents, starting with the 2 custom fields right below flood and school, all the way up to the top, excluding the seller. And I know I may sound like a broken record, and I do apologize, but remember, everyone, it's very important. For an agent to pull from Point to Pulse, we do have 3 required fields. You must make sure that there is a contact name, that there is an email address, and that there is a company name. So long as you make sure those 3 fields are filled in, that information will pull from Point over into Pulse and will appear under your contact list. And if they appear under the contact list, that means that you have the ability to select them as a recipient of an email. Okay, so we're going to get into marketing to realtors and title companies and appraisers a little bit later. This call today, we're talking about your birthdays and holidays. And of course, on the holidays, we may want to send it also to the realtors, which we can talk about when we look at a holiday one. But this particular one for borrower and co-borrower, okay, this one's specific to my borrower, so I'm only choosing my borrower. Okay, so in my 2 box, I've chose my borrower, all right? This is a birthday email, okay? You have 2 different types of emails that go out. You have individual emails and you have mass emails. Individual emails, everyone, is ones that go individually unique to that borrower, like birthdays, or a 1-year anniversary of their loan closing, or 30-day follow-up after closing, or ones that are specific to a lead. Mass emails are newsletters, holiday emails, informational emails, and things like that, okay? On mass emails, you never, ever want to CC or BCC anyone on a list. Because if you do, that person, those individuals, are going to get copied on every single email that sends out. So you have a wonderful database. You have 5,000 names and email addresses, and you're sending out a Thanksgiving email, and you copied the loan officer. The loan officers are going to come in the next day, and they're going to have hundreds and hundreds of emails in their inbox, and they're going to be very unhappy. And we don't want to make them unhappy, okay? So on mass emails, you never want to CC or BCC. But on individual emails like birthdays, 1-year anniversaries, things like that, you do want to copy them. Why? Because you want them to be aware that a birthday email was sent out on their behalf to their borrower. So if the borrower replies back or calls them, okay, they're going to know what it's about. And it's nice for for certain loan officers to be given that heads up, because maybe this particular borrower's birthday is important to them because they happen to be one of their special clients. Okay. In that particular case, you do want to BCC the sender. Okay. Now you do have the ability to more than BCC the sender. On a birthday one, maybe to help the realtors who don't have a marketing system, who don't have a tickler system or anything like that, but you might want to make them aware that your mutual client's birthday is today's date. You do have the ability to come down here, and you could choose to have the realtor also copied on that email. So they would also see that you sent out a birthday email to your mutual borrower wishing them a happy birthday, and you had a copy sent to you to make you aware that it went out, as well as you could send it to your realtors. So that might be a little plug or a little something that you could offer to your realtors. You could go one step farther. You could actually co-brand your happy birthday emails and insert your realtor's information. We could make it very generic and a space below the email so that if there is a realtor, it could get filled in. If there's not, it won't. Those are all possibilities, and it sounds wonderful and you're all getting excited. But now I have to play devil's advocate, okay? Let's say that you did choose to copy the realtor, okay? Let's say that you did choose to include the realtor's information on the email. This particular borrower, today is their birthday, and they've done 4 transactions with you. Their first transaction was a purchase, okay, with a particular realtor. Their second was a refinance. Their third was a purchase with a different realtor. Their fourth was a third purchase with yet a different realtor, okay? Our system is sophisticated enough and smart enough to know, okay, that if there's duplicate email addresses, to strip out the duplicate email addresses so that everyone only receives, so that the borrower only receives one happy birthday email. The problem is when it strips out those duplicates, what it's doing is it's narrowing it down to a single file. So if Jason happened to have 4 files here, what it would do is it would eliminate 3 and it would retain 1. And the one that it retained, it would use that file name, or it would use that particular file for what it needed to generate the email. So by including the realtor on things like this, and if you happen to have where there were different, that particular borrower used different realtors, you're going to be hit and miss on which one of those realtors is going to get copied on this birthday email. It's just the way the database is. It's the way things are stored, okay? Unless you want to purchase a marketing system that you go in and physically enter a contact database and you update that contact database every time a transaction happens, and you're not having it linked to another database and historical records, you're always going to be faced with this challenge, everyone. It's out there, and it's just, it is what it is, okay? I wish there was a much more simpler way, but there's not. So you can do this and you can include it, but you just need to be aware that you have that potential. And that's my job, to tell you what the pitfalls of it could be, to play that devil's advocate. Does it mean that I wouldn't include the realtor? Sure, I would. If they, whether it was the first transaction, the third, or the fourth, I worked with them. It's this borrower's birthday. Why wouldn't I copy them on it? It doesn't mean that I'm not continuing that relationship with that realtor. It may not be the last one that they did a transaction with. Apparently, they don't have a favorite if they've used 3 different ones. So it's really up to you. Think about it, okay? You don't really want to put a reply email down here because you want that reply to go back to either your default or your from. I'm really going to have this one removed. They thought it was a great feature, but it's never used. Down here under the operation mode, you want to be sure to switch it from test to production, and then we're going to go forward. Now we're into the body of the email. So now we're on step 3. This is the fun part, okay? Now I don't mean to scare everyone, all right? But this is actually written in what we call an HTML code, all right? Now this little tool is a translator. So what it does is it allows users like me and you to be able to come in and to be able to build this out and make minor changes to it if we want to, okay? If you want to come in and you want to build out your own email templates or you want to make changes, you can do that. And we're going to cover that in another call on how to do your custom emails. which I'm going to add to either calls 3 or 4 when we have a little bit more time left over at the end of our hour. But for this particular one, as you saw earlier when we did a preview, this is the merge tag that's going to bring in the company logo. If you go into one that we've already built for you, how can you find out what these merge tags represent? Well, it's really very easy. If you scroll to the bottom of that email, you'll see that here are all of the merge tags that we're currently using within this email. You'll see the name of the field, and you'll see the merge tag over here. You'll also see that you have the ability to come down and add a new one. And again, just like we did on the subject line, you can choose between point, pulse, or external, select it, get your merge tag. You can go up, click your mouse where you want to insert it, come back and click insert, or do the shortcut like I do and simply copy it and then simply go up and insert it wherever you're going to want it to be. And it will insert the tag for you. I like to do that. Makes it a little bit easier, less scrolling. Okay. You can also, if you wish to do so, actually go ahead and when you're in setting up the holiday or the birthday emails and you want to see what it looks like, you can actually insert your own logo. You can come up here and we have a series of different icons that allow you to do different things like set fonts, font colors, all kinds of cool stuff, so bold, italic. Most importantly is this little image icon. If you click on it, it will actually allow you to go to an upload tab, choose from a file, and it's going to take you to your database. When you get to your database, you can go in and you can scroll down and you can find different images, you can find different logos, whatever you might be. You can find certain ones, you can select it, and you can bring it in. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the Yelp one, just for the sake of one. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to send it to the server. It'll show me a little preview here, and I'm going to click OK, and there we go. Okay. Hopefully your images will be much nicer, but you can see that it's really that easy to go ahead and insert an image. So if you wanted to include your logo so that you could see what it looked like, you could drop it in. You can also change out the images we have and import your own ones if you choose to do so. Down here, you can come in and you can change the wording. And of course, again, our merge tags are there, and we're doing this personally addressed. That's the reason why I tagged this one as borrower. So this says, Dear Pam. Okay, and then it's going to say Happy Birthday, Pam, and it's going to bring in the loan officer's names down here. And then down here is where you can come in and you can fill it in by hand or let the system do it. It's going to bring it over from Pulse. It's going to bring the company name, email address, city, state, and zip. Over here we have the social media icons. If you're currently not using them, no problem. You can simply delete them. But if you wish to use one or any of them, you can simply point to these icons and right-click. And when you do, you actually have the ability to come down here to where it says Image Property, and it will open up and allow you to go to the Links tab and enter the link to your Facebook account or your Twitter or your LinkedIn or your Google account. Okay, so that way these can, if they click on them, it can pull them in. Now, I know what everyone's going to ask, so I'm going to answer it up front. We currently do not have a place that you can set up all your social media icons so that they pull into each email template and you don't have to set them up individually. I'm sorry, I wished I did, but I currently don't. If you wish to use the social media icons, you do have to set them up in each email template. And then, of course, down here, we pull in phone numbers and email addresses. I tell all my customers, remove the copyright. You don't need that below. Okay. And then once you've got the email selected and you've got the setup or the changes that you want made, you simply come down and you go next, and it's going to take you to the trigger page. Now, the trigger page, we wanted to give our customers as much flexibility as possible. So first of all, when you're working on a new email and you don't want it to accidentally go out, just choose Not Scheduled. It's as simple as that. That's another safety measure to make sure that it doesn't go out until you're ready. But we did, again, want to give you a variety of options to be able to choose from for sending out emails. So we gave you the emails to send out one time. Now, one-time emails would be your newsletters once a month, maybe an email blast about a new program or something out there, or you will find that some of the holidays that you go into, they're set up over a 5-year period and they're all set up as one time. Why? Because they don't always happen the same day every single year. So because some holidays vary from year to year, I can't set them up as intervals like I can for July 4th or for Christmas or for New Year's. Okay, some of them, because they're different for each year, we wanted to make it as easy for our customers as possible. So we gave you the ability to come in and add them as an event. You can come down and you can choose a certain date. You can choose a certain time. And then you can continue to add them and you can set up, I don't know, 4 or 5 at one time. We'll be going through everyone's sites and updating the ones that we have out there for the holidays that we needed to do this on. So that their future ones will also be set up and those holidays will go out. We're not expecting our customers to go back in and do that. We'll be doing that for you. So you have the ability to do that. Now, if you are setting up for a holiday that we currently don't offer and you're not sure if that holiday is the same day every year and you want to be able to make sure that you set it up correctly, we gave you this little wonderful link here that says Holiday Calendar. And basically what it does is it takes you to a wonderful web page. And on this web page, it shows you practically almost every day of the year. And on that particular day, what holiday is recognized at that particular time. So you can either do a find and look for the particular one you're looking for or simply scroll down. Once you find one that you're looking for and you come over and you click on it, it will bring it up and it will let you know the information regarding that holiday, and it will tell you down below each year for future years, for many years into the future, what day that holiday is being recognized on. Okay, so that way you know for each year how to exactly go back and set it up. So we wanted, again, to make it as easy for our customers as possible to be able to do one-times like newsletters and mass emails, and to be able to set up those unique holidays that don't occur on the same day every year. But if they do occur on the same day every year, we get to set those up as intervals. So I can come in and say, okay, on July 4th of every year, I want you to send out my Happy July 4th. Okay, on January 1st of every year, I want you to send out my Happy New Year's. All right. This is the one that's used most often, and it's used for all the standard holiday emails that we possibly can set it up on. You do have the ability to come in and set up an email that you want to go out daily. I will be very honest, everyone, I do not have anyone that is currently doing daily emails. You can also set it up for weekly, which I don't have anyone using that right now, or you can set it up for monthly. So I don't have any immediate examples on why you may want to use daily, weekly, monthly, but I did want to let you know that they are available out there if you have a unique circumstances and which would fit into these. So you could set it up to go out daily at a certain time. You could set it to go out a certain day every week, or you could set it to go out monthly on maybe the first Monday or maybe the second Friday, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, you can set those up and it does a really nice job and we'll send those out for you. You can set up emails down here where they go unlimited or whether they end after a certain time. Birthday emails, you would always want to set them up to go out unlimited. But if you were doing like a lead email or a one-time email, you'd want to set those up to only go out once. That's also another fail-safe to make sure that if for some reason this particular campaign got triggered accidentally again and it had already gone out once, they wouldn't receive it a second time. But for birthdays, we're going to do it as a calculated field. Okay, I know I've covered a lot, but bear with me. Okay, calculated fields aren't that difficult. They're not that scary because you now know how to go into Point and you now know how to find the information you're looking for. And in this case, we're looking for the borrower's birthday. That's field 118. So now that we have the borrower's birthday, what we would do is we would come here and we'd add a condition. And I would tell it to look at the Point field and I would enter the borrower's birthday. Okay, so again, you're going to go to Point, you're going to go to Utilities, load field ID numbers, choose borrower, open up the blank, go to the borrower information page, and you're going to find the field ID number that belongs to the date of birth for the borrower. So we're looking at field 118. So you're going to come down here and you're going to type in field 118. It's going to give you all the different results. You're going to scroll down and find the borrower's birthday. You're going to come over here and you're going to choose anniversary. So on the anniversary of the borrower's birthday, you wanted to send out the happy birthday email. We only have one condition for this one. So I'm going to tell it for my formula, it's only one. If I had two conditions, I would simply do like I did on the list. I would do 1 and 2. You can do 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3 and 4 and 5. You can do 1 and brackets 2, 3, 4, and 5. We can get really creative with the formulas to be able to create some really unique marketing campaigns for you, especially when it comes to your leads, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on a future call. So in this particular case, I have one formula, so I'm going to set it up for 1. And usually birthdays, okay, I don't want it to run at the top of every hour, okay? I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to set it to go out every morning, and usually most of my customers set them to go out like at 7 or 8 a.m. And of course, I'm going to set it unlimited because every year I want the system to send them a happy birthday email. So that's how I would set up the birthday email and why I treat it as calculated. Days forward, this one you have to be really, really careful with, everyone. Days forward, if you're taking notes on the call, days forward, you only want to use this with a manual list. You do not want to use it if you have a dynamic list, okay? Because dynamic lists regenerate themselves every time you call them up, okay? That's what's so cool about them, right? We set it as a dynamic list, so every time we tell it to use this list, we say, okay, we want to use our all file list. It's a dynamic list. So what it does is it takes the criteria we set for the all file list each time it's called up, and it regenerates that list into the memory of the computer. Then it strips that list down for us, removing the duplicates, removing the opt-out, and it's that list that gets used on the email template, okay? Days forward says send email to recipient, let's say 1 day, okay, after added to the list. Right here, this is what people don't see. They don't understand. And I want to make sure that you understand, because I don't want you to accidentally send out an email to your entire database over and over and over and over again until they finally reach out to you going, what in the world's going on, and has someone compromised my data with your company? Okay? You need to understand days forward, and I really need to put a warning here. Days forward only gets used with a manual list, because a manual list you control manually when they get added to the list. So when you manually add them to the list, after they've been added to the list, then this is when you decide when you want that email to trigger and go out, because it's determined after they're added to the list. Okay? Now the recipients will only receive this email one time only, but it means that one time only every time the email templates run. So it could end up being an embarrassing situation. So going forward in the future, if you go into Pulse Marketing and set these up on your own, I ask a huge favor of everyone on the call today. Please reach out to me if you think you want to use days forward. If you set it up, that's fine. Just don't engage the email template. Don't enable it until you email me and tell me, and let me go in and take a look just to make sure that it's set up properly and you won't end up in an embarrassing situation. I never want that to happen to any of my clients. And then, of course, you can set this to go at the top of the hour, or you can set a Pacific time. Okay. We also gave our customers this ability down here. Allow Pulse Marketing to send duplicate emails to the same email address. I honestly don't know when or if anyone would ever use this. Okay. But while we were building the code, it was simple to allow 4 extra lines of code and to put the box there just in case. But I don't have a good example on when you may want to use that. I really don't see anyone ever using it. So this box by default is unchecked, and I don't think it's something you'd want to check. So on this particular one, we're going to go back up to calculated because it's my birthday one. I'm going to re-enter field 118. I'm going to come down, choose the borrower's birthday. I'm going to choose anniversary, set my condition to 1, tell it that I want it to run every morning at 7 a.m., and I want it to go unlimited. And I'm going to go next. And my birthday email is set up. Now we get to step 5, which is confirmation page. And this is simply a review. This is going to show you the email template. This is going to show you the list that you're using, your subject line, who it's coming from, if it's being CC'd or BCC'd, which this one, I thought I unchecked it, so this should be blank, and then what the triggers are. And in this particular case, it's the borrower's birthday is if it's the anniversary of the borrower's birthday. Okay, and reoccurring, there's no end date. We've told it we want it to keep going out over and over again. Now there is one link on this page which is really nice, and that link is a test email. Whether you click test email here, everyone, or you're on your template list, and under your template list, you also notice under the actions, you have this wonderful thing that says test email. Whether you click it here, okay, or whether you click it on your confirmation page, okay, what it's going to do is allow you to send yourself a test email, okay? What you need to understand and what becomes confusing to my users is they go, I got my test email, my logo's missing, it didn't fill in all the blanks, my company name and stuff isn't there. The reason why it's not, everyone, is because when you send a test email, it's not attached to a borrower file. If it's not attached to a borrower file, it has no way to pull in the merge tags, okay? So because it can't pull in the merge tags, what we did is we gave you the fields so that you could fill them in yourself if you wanted to see what they looked like on the email when you got your sample. So in this particular case, I can't put a logo in, but I can go ahead and I could type here, logo here, so I'll know where it's going to, but I can come in and add my borrower's first name, my loan officer name, my company name and address. I can add all this information, and I can come down and click send. And when I do, it's going to send me a test email. I'm going to apologize. I can't show you a sample of this because, believe it or not, 5 minutes before the call today, for whatever reason, my Outlook became corrupted. So I had to shut it down so it would stop shooting out error messages on my screen for this call. So it's preventing me from showing you a sample. But you could go down and you could click send, and it would send you a sample. Basically, I don't bother filling in all this information. I know what all that is and everything. I simply put my name here and have it send me a sample because I want to see what the picture looks like, and I want to make sure that the wording is just the way that I want it. That's the most important thing. Everything else is always the same, and it's going to pull from the point file. I'm good to go on that. I just want to see, does my picture look right? Is it the right size? Does my wording look right? Did I misspell anything? I just want a fresh look at it versus looking at it on the setup page. So you just come in and enter your email address and send yourself a sample, and it does a really nice job. Once you have it all done, you're going to click finish. Now, just because I walked through this one and I set up the borrower's birthday email, okay, you'll notice here that it's now gone to production mode. I now have a trigger set. I now have it assigned to a list, okay, but it's never going to go out unless I come over here and I flip it on. Once I flip it on, it's going to record in the system that we use to generate and send out the emails. And because we're already past 7 a.m., it won't run until tomorrow morning. Once it runs tomorrow morning, anyone on the all file list that has birthdays for tomorrow, it's going to trigger and send them out. Now, another nice thing that you can do, which I like about the system, is you have the ability to, let's say, you chose some loans and you want to send out a newsletter, and you want to actually have a list of all the recipients that that newsletter is going to. Once it goes out, it's going to show you all of those email addresses under the report screen, and you could go there and you could download it to an Excel spreadsheet. But maybe before it actually goes out, you want to see a list of all of the recipients ahead of time. Well, over here under your Actions tab, we've talked about Edit, we've talked about Preview, we'll come back to Copy in a moment, we've talked about Test Email. I think everyone on the call knows what Delete is. But you also have this option to export. You can come down and you can choose export. And when you choose export, it simply asks you to enter your email address, and it says, we will email you the final list of recipients who will receive the email for the template Happy Birthday. And it's going to show you the email template name here. And you can tell it whether you want it to come as a CVS file or an Excel file, and click OK, and it's going to email it to you. So it takes it about 5 minutes for the system to generate it. It's going to show in your inbox, and when you open it, it's going to show you all of the recipients that's going to receive that email once it reaches the trigger status and it actually sends it out. Okay, so we try to keep all of it, all possibilities into consideration. And of course, if you want to get into hard coding your logo, hard coding your company's name and address at the bottom, hard coding your social media icons and things like that, what a lot of my customers do will set up like the Happy Birthday borrower email, include their logo, all of that information, do it up real nice, change what fields pull in for the loan officer name, things like that. Once it's all said and done, then what they'll do is they'll come over here and they'll make a copy of it. They'll rename it for the co-borrower, and then all they have to do is change under the recipient list from borrower to co-borrower, change the merge tag from borrower to co-borrower, and they don't have to set up the rest of the email. So copying one is really a cool feature and does a very nice job. So with that said, for this part of it, for the birthdays, and you would walk through and do the same thing for your holiday ones, let's stop for a moment and see what kind of questions we have. Which point field maps to Custom Agent 1 and Custom Agent 2? Ah, great question. Those are mapped from your Track Agent List screen, and it's the first two custom fields right below Flood and School. So it's these two custom fields here. Can a loan officer's NMLS number be inserted in a template that goes out to an external list? Absolutely, okay? Because when you set that up and you select a loan officer within your email template, when you're inserting into the body and you're telling it to pull those merge tags, okay? I'm sorry, I'm going to rephrase that, and I'm going to apologize, everyone. I went down a road too fast. I think what you're asking me, and hopefully I'm doing a back step and understanding that correctly, can a loan officer's NMLS number be inserted into a template that goes out to an external list only? Yes, you can. But what you would do is on that external email template that's going to that external list, what you would do is in the body of the email, instead of having it pull in merge tags, which don't exist because there's not a point file, what you would actually do is you would come in and you would hard code this. So basically, this would be a very specific email going out to a specific external list on behalf of a single loan officer. So what you would do is you would simply, on that particular email template, instead of telling it to pull in the merge tags, you'd simply hard code your name. So if I was doing a specific list that I was sending out to my past clients, I would simply come in here and type in Pam Padley, loan officer, insert my NMLS number, insert my email address, my phone numbers, whatever I want. You could actually come in and you could do that and make it very nice. It'd be a nice, really nice presentation. Can a template be set up to go out quarterly? Yes, you can do that. Remember, we had the different triggers that you could choose on the intervals. So you could set something up, no, I take that back. Monthly, yes. Quarterly, no. And I guess, would you really want to send out the same email every quarter? If you wanted to send the same email out every quarter, we could get together and be really creative on how we could condition that to happen and maybe set it up to do that over the course of maybe 4 times within 1 year. And then you would have to go back in and reset it up again by simply setting up the one-time onlys and setting them up 4 different times. So yes, you could come in and you could, for the same email, set it up to go out every quarter. You would just have to enter those 4 quarter dates here that you wanted it to go out on. So is it possible? Yes. Do we have to be a little creative? Absolutely. Okay. All right. So before I let everyone go, and I know I'm at the top of the hour, but we talked about birthdays. We also wanted to cover holidays. As you scroll down, you'll see that we have lots of other email templates out there, including all of the different holidays. Setting up a holiday isn't any different than setting up a birthday. The only difference is that you would decide which holiday ones you wanted to use, whether you wanted to make any changes to the body of the email, and whether you'd want those holiday emails to go out personally addressed, or whether you'd remove the personal addressed part of it and make it more of a generic. And then that way, by doing that, okay, your holiday emails, when you set them up to go out, what I like about making it generic on the holiday ones is when I go in and let's say on my list side, I have my all files, okay? Then let's say that I've done 4 different external lists, one for past realtors, maybe for title companies I've done business with, past clients, okay? So now I want to go in and I want to set up a template. I want to use the same template, and I want it to go out to all files, and I want it to go out to 3 external lists. By making it generic, okay, I'm not going to have to worry about merge tags, and I'm not going to have to set it up 4 different times. I'm just going to make it be presented very nicely, have it go as a general email, and then I can select multiple lists, and it can go to every one without being personally addressed. Now, it works out really nice, and I have a lot of my customers that do that. So what you're going to want to do, again, as I said earlier before I let everyone go, please, if you're not using Pulse Marketing, you definitely want to. Between now and the end of the year, you're going to be missing out on several opportunities. Without setting up the birthday, you're going to miss out on that. And mostly, you're going to miss out on sending Thanksgiving emails, holiday emails for Christmas or whichever holiday that you recognize for the month of December, and New Year's. So those are really important. So if you're currently not using Pulse Marketing, think about wanting to use those. Think about reaching out to us, and let's make sure that we get those holiday emails set up. Okay. Next week's call, we're going to talk about, we want to focus on marketing to your leads. When you market to your leads, everyone, those are going to be a little different, and the triggers and stuff are going to be a little different, and we're going to get really creative on those, and we're going to get more into how to do those formulas and narrow down on when you want things sent and when you don't want them sent. So with all of that, does anyone else have any questions that you'd like to post to the question box that I can answer before we end the call today? I really appreciate all of your time, and I hope so far you're finding these calls very beneficial. Does anyone else have any questions I can answer before we end today's call? No? Okay, everyone. You're a great group, and we love working with you. And again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and joining me. I will get this recording posted to the YouTube site by tomorrow. And then for everyone who joined the call today, I'll be sure to send you these 2 links to let you know that it's out there. You can find today's recording at this link, and I'll be sure to give you this link in case you'd like to go out and look at these wonderful videos we're doing for Pulse. On that note, everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to having you on my call next week. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.